Trafalgar Meeting, Sketches and Monologue, Part 1, by Ayed Hindi. Chapter 1. In a somber day in mid-September at Kensal Green Cemetery stood a thin, well-dressed young man beside a graveyard of his late mother. Thomas kneeled down and started to wipe away the dirt of the headstone using his bare hands. Then he grabbed a candle from his pocket, lighted and inserted into a remembrance lantern he bought on his way, and placed right next to her picture on the headstone. Then he stood up and started to whisper with himself. It has been a year today, Mother. I miss you. Nothing had ever replaced your smile. I can't forget the stories you were telling me, your kindness and caring heart, your tender voice, and your wonderful food. You are always in my day and night dreams. God bless you. Thomas said and continued, I'm all right if you were ever wondering. I wish you happiness in your new world. Do you feel being relieved from the pain? The times you were suffering from the illness never left my mind. I've got to tell you about what happened in the time of your absences. I thought I wanted to share everything with someone special, and there is no need for you to comment about anything you hear from me. I respect your silence. Thought I prefer to hear your voice all day ringing loud in my ears. Remember our neighbor Mrs. Harris? She's got a new dog called Rufus as replacement for the old one Rose who died recently. I attended its funeral on your behalf because you loved the dog. It was a simple one and Miss Harris appreciated me being there. I thought more people were present than of your own. Sad, but everyone has their own priority. Also, I'll tell about the shabby corner shop next door. It has been refurbished. You were always complaining about how dirty it was. It looks rather new. However, still the same owners occupying the shop, so I won't be surprised if the shop turns back to be dirty again. What else? Hmm. I've given all of your belonging to the charity shop. I thought they might have better use of it, though I kept only one thing. Your old radio. I've never used it, and I'm still asking myself what to do with it in your absence. It was a big part of your whole day, as you stayed hours listening to that radio, even when you were in bad health, and just to assure you, it is still there on the same shelf as you had left it, Thomas said and continued, Mother, should I give the radio away or keep it? Confirm me with a hint, would you please? Probably I will have to listen to the same program, if you don't mind, to keep your memory fresh in my mind. I'm curious to learn what enchanted you so much to that radio. Then he looked at his phone for a second and continued with whispering. I can wait for your response, for any hint from you, please, would you? But I can't wait for long because it's getting darker. You know it's autumn and the sun departs us earlier these days. A colorful robin landed briefly on the marbled headstone. All right, Mother, that is a special hint and it means more to me. I'll clean the radio and remove the dust from it. Sorry for my failure to look after your radio, but I promise you I'll listen to your favorite programs, though I don't know what to expect. Still, in my next visit, I'll tell all about the stories I've heard over the radio, the local gossips, and the latest news just to keep you updated as you were always telling me. Gotta go now, Mom. I'll be seeing you soon. Oh, the land keepers is about to close the cemetery gates. Thomas said, I hope you are happy where you are. I'm sure you are. Did you like the lily flowers and the white candles I brought to you? Maybe not much. Forgive me. I have to go. Goodbye to you. Mother, nevertheless, your soul is always with me. Amen. He dried his tears and walked reluctantly towards the exit. Thought he kept looking back from time to time. That's the way out, he told himself while walking steadily on the pavement. Young man, wait. A loud voice burst from behind and made Thomas freeze. Then he looked over his shoulder to see who was calling him. A short, stout old man dressed in tatty suit holding a box was approaching him. You must be Thomas. Please receive my condolences, the man uttered. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thomas answered with questions on his mind of how this stranger knew his name. My name is Riggs. I work here, sir. The old man elaborated. I was waiting here to meet you because I've got something to deliver. The old man handed Thomas the box he was carrying. It's very strange circumstances. Riggs continued, we received this parcel a couple of days ago at our office in the cemetery admin, and it was addressed to you. Sent from your address. Riggs added while staring at Thomas. The instructions in the letter attached was to give you the box upon your visit to the grave today. Very strange indeed, because I've never sent anything. Why would I? In fact, it's weird, Thomas said, and he took the box with the attached letter. I almost forgot. What do you think about the headstone? Isn't piece of art? It has been installed last week, and it was your mother desire to be designed like an old radio. I'm sure no one used them these days anyway, said Riggs with a smile. Certainly, thought I didn't notice the design because I was a bit overwhelmed. I'll look carefully next time. Thomas answered. Then I'm done. Goodbye, sir. Riggs uttered his words and turned away, walking towards the office. One question, sir. How you receive the parcel? Thomas asked. Special delivery. Riggs answered. Thanks. Chapter 2. On the same evening of that Sunday, after returning back to his flat, Thomas sat on the sofa in his living room reflecting and spending time browsing his phone while he was waiting for the meal to be cooked. That is a good Sunday. Thomas uttered the words with deep satisfaction. The visit to the cemetery had pleased him to the extent of feeling happy despite it was anyway a sad event. Ding! Food is ready, Thomas told himself. He went to the kitchen and opened the microwave. Then he drew his ready meal out of it and placed on the small square dinner table. The food was steaming from the heat and need time to cool off. He went towards the kitchen window and he pulled the opaque blue curtain wide open and started watching the busy road underneath. After a few minutes, he sat down on a wooden chair next the table and started eating his dinner. His eyes lurked through the half-covered window, then he turned to a wooden shelf hanging firmly on the wall opposite him. Hello, old radio. I wonder if you're still working? Are any life remains in you? Too much dust stacked on your old radio from what I can see. Wiping that dust never crossed my mind before. Thomas said. Maybe I was too scared to touch it, he told himself. To me it would be best to dump it in the junk, but with permission from my mom, I'll turn you on. Thomas was puzzled of how the radio operate. I guess that big black knob is the power source. I have no choice but to dial that knob and listen to anything pops out of it, though I'll keep the same program my mom had left it on, Thomas said. He stood up and walked towards the shelf, switched on the radio, then music started to stream from the radio. It's working, This radio actually still works despite being a discarded machine. Hmm. Now I can prepare me a cup of tea and might understand what held my mom captivated so long to that thing for many years. Perhaps I'll accustom myself to a new routine and discover how could she spent all her evenings and most of the day just listening. Thomas said to himself. The sound of music surged and filled the air. Thomas was browsing his phone and bit by bit drank his hot tea. Then after a while, he noticed the box sitting on the table. Wonder what's inside your box? Tomas said. He unsealed the stamps and removed the cover. There was a card. Hmm, I'll read the card first. Dear Thomas, I wish you a very happy birthday despite the pain I feel because I missed it. Please will you accept my gift and remember you're always on my mind, my dear son. Your mother, Sarah. Aha, my favorite perfume. Thomas shouted. Thank you, Mom. He opened the perfume bottle and received a whiff of a pleasant fragrance. The radio was streaming music, but the program has changed suddenly with a different type of music, and Thomas went into a deep stupor. A voice came out of the radio, infused with soft rolling music. A voice from the radio. Dear listeners, good evening to you all. I hope everyone is fine. This is the time to start our daily program, the fairy tales. Music intro. Before we start our program, I need 1 minute of your time to introduce you to our new member, Thomas. He is a young man full of energy and ambitions, but unfortunately, he feels sad and alone. He lost his mother a year ago. Her name is Sarah J. Sure you remember her. She was one of our best listeners. We lost her too. Sad music. Thomas at this moment is passing our introduction process to join our large lively community. As you know, he is in deep tranquil sleep, but his unconscious is with us, listening to our program in calmness and joy. I'm sure we shall all bestow our love to him. Ha, sorry. Music intro. Our tale for today is Micho, the King's Savior. The play was put together by our dedicated AI learning machine and performed by our smart young enthusiastic team, Logic Unearther Pretenders, on the magical Parthenon Theater. Chapter 3. Voice of the Announcer. Our story for tonight, dear listeners, are about the fugitive King Otto who survived an army coup attempt led by the revolutionary General Collar, who was accompanied by thousands of his faithful soldiers to assault and occupy the royal palace and overthrow the foreign monarchy away from Greece. The announcer said and continued. King Otto managed to escape at the last minute from his surrounded palace in Athena, and now he is hiding in remote land outside the city. He left everything behind him in haste as he was shocked to the speed of how the soldiers encircled his place in a droves late at night. Yet despite his initial successful escape, he knows that the soldiers are unrelenting in his pursuit, but he found a hiding place outside Athena and counseled himself in dense bushes waiting for the right moment to continue his escapee and to salvage his life and his kingdom. On stage, sounds of bird songs in early break of that morning. A tall, thin man with unkempt dark hair was crawling warily on his muddily covered knees as he emerged sneaking from within a lushly green wild bush. Even though it was very quiet at that early day, He went on peeking cautiously into the greenly veiled surroundings from where he was hiding. Thereafter he hearkened that there are no suspicious sounds and ascertained there is no other movement around him. He mollified himself, stood up, stretched his crooked body, and called upon his donkey, whom was in hiding too. Micho, I'm the king calling on you. Hurry up. Let's go, buddy. I think the place is secure now for a good run of our lives. He looked around again. Damn, I feel ashamed. I'm about to ride on a dirty burro. What if my people see it this state of humiliation? Never mind. Here we go. Slowly, he mounted on the donkey's back. Micho, my soul pal and my lone lovely abettor, my solo creaky and my meekly saver. It's the time to find our destiny. Speedy runaway form here is our best endeavor. Hee-haw, donkey bray. We must leave the lovely brambles with utter haste. My dear the meaty carrier, ahead we'll cross on that opened harrowed prairie, like a furious streaming, non-stop raging harrier. We should surmount any hurdle or any obstructing barrier, equating a raging hurricane, and even supremely swifter, veiling ourselves from unwavering foes and the obdurate pursuer. It's my only remaining plan of surviving the impending asunder. Thus, don't be like my other flustering brethren. I mean the human creatures, a pretty goofy, a smugly arrogant, and a bitter hauteur. Damn, I hope you understood what that means to me, my lone lasting comrade, are you? Sigh. Maybe you are more like the other peons and navvies. We used to push, churn hard and boil over, move mate. Otto said to the donkey. Hee-haw, donkey bray. He continued to yak. I do understand your limitations, donkey, and we've been deprived of a good rest last night. You know, only posing for few scanty hours in that forlorn pitchy and misty shrubbery with half-open stare eyes. Shaw. Until the damned ants ruined the short time I had to rest. They were too many to scrub out, though I can't really grumble and moan about a fleeting nightmares or intruding ants, can I? I doubt it, we're luck. The enemies didn't catch me until now, most likely busy with splitting the shares of my precious stuff they stole. Let's use this break wisely, Otto said. A swarm of flies gathered and start to buzz around them. We have now another dreadful company. They all suddenly swarmed in. Great patches. Is this your lucky day? Where you came from? Is it a collation of the deprived are attacking me? Probably they never witnessed a royalty before. Otto said. He waved his hand to scare away the flies. Shoo, shoo pesky creatures. I have nothing to offer. I'm clean and shaved. You should find another reek to whirl about, or maybe honeycomb nearby. Not me by any chance. Otto said. The flies were invasive, plucky, and determinate. Dear flies, are you appreciating Micho inherited nasty odor? Definitely not me. But I can't do much about it despite being the Royal Highness. though I know you don't give a damn about any sort of class. Otto said. He looked over his shoulders. Regardless of you are being one of the awful creatures that exists beside others I can easily discern, I ought to admire your solidarity and consistency. Otto said. Then King Otto became angry and started to pour scorn on the donkey. It's all your fault, Micho. You are too slow, damn donkey. Otto said. Hee-haw, donkey bray. Don't complain. A king is sitting on your back. That's a great honor for everyone, including a donkey. Though a fugitive one, nonetheless. I'll return primed in victory. Now I'm protecting you from the sizzling sun above. So move, Otto said. Hee-haw, donkey bray. Chapter 4. The Announcer. King Otto and the donkey continued their runaway journey outside the city towards the northern borders. They crossed miles rough terrain, maneuvering between narrow valleys and rugged hills in harsh heat and sizzling sun until they reached a green field. It was much needed break from the unkind conditions, and Otto decided to seize the opportunity and cut through an apple farm stealthily to avoid being seen until the first obstacle appeared in their way. At last, we have shade from the sun thanks to the apple trees over our heads. I feel the raging heat in my head like a boiling egg. Stop here, Micho, Otto said as he dismounted from the donkey. Oh, I feel the pain everywhere in my body. Let's walk to that well and hope we find water in it, Otto said as he pulled the donkey by its reins. Drink the water, Micho, Otto said as he brought bucket full of water. I need you fully charged to continue our laborious journey. Eat those apples and don't confuse me with Eve. Those are real fresh apples. I picked them from the trees around us. Then he sat down on the ground eating apples and watching the surroundings cautiously. Fugitive and thief. That's beyond the pale from a discarded Bavarian king. Who is talking? Otto shouted in anger. As there was no response, Otto stood up and started looking around him everywhere, scouring the place as he was deeply surprised and scared to hear that strange voice. It's me, to your attention, the great golden spider. Look upon your shoulders towards the rocks near you, where I mightily stand, and expectantly your tiny eyes will be cleared out of that royal hubris and vain ignorance. Be aware every realm has its own master, no free round to wonder about. The spider said, a large golden spider reposing on a shallow black stone near the water canal. Oh, right, yes. Now I can spot you. Regardless of your diminutive size, still, you are awkwardly huge for a primitive species of your kind. My name is Otto, if you do care. Now, what is your purpose here? Great whatever golden spider. Are you after us as well? The king said, this is my kingdom as much as your eyes can see. Old self-obsessed fellow, I rule in here. I ask the questions. Not you. Now explain to me why you and your donkey trespassing into my own territory? The spider said, you are such a nasty and rude little prickly ancient predator. You are mere of a tooting arrogant for a start. Where is your followers? All I can see is apple trees. Don't you understand we are very tired and in such hurry traveling? By the way, how come you are able to speak my human language? The king asked. Long story. I don't think you have the time nor the wisdom to hear it while you are on a speedy run from your enemies, on a donkey, not on a charger by any means. The spider said, laughing. You know too many things, foreign spider. Judging from the weird accent spawn out of your hidden mouth, you are not from this land, are you? The king asked. You're right, subject, I came from far, as far as the great desert. Where is our mighty breed start from there, hence my shiny nice color, we destined to rule the world and despite the cultural difference. I decided to settle in here, better food, easy praise, and more important, a cleaner blood to gulp, ha. The spider said, how did you manage to smuggle yourself into this country? Did you cross the sea on a floating wood, or you took a delusional camel for a long, arduous, never-ending ride? The king asked. On a cruiser, my dear fugitive king, adverse to your burrow, filled up with the likes of you. I sailed among a swanky and snooty posh crowd. Food was in abundance, cheerful music, and lots of naked bodies. And by the way, no seasickness, the spider said. Then my guess would be, regarding your vast knowledge concerning my dire situation, you are a clairvoyant and wholly furnished with virulent sixth sense. That's a common nature for a good hunter, though it is an adverse trait to a lazy species like you. But do tell me, how you know that much about me? The king asked. I must tell the truth. I learned a lot about you while you're insanely talking to yourself, or maybe to Micho, dissolute escapee king, without any kingdom, living in a vast mirage and on the run from your hunting shadows on an old gray donkey. Ahem. The spider clears his throat and continued. Your chances of surviving this quandary are as good as naught, and that please me to no end. Now, tell me more about yourself. Is your blood really blue? I heard those rumors circling around my kingdom, but never had the chance before to taste it. Perfect for antipasto. The spider asked. Yes and no. I don't know. Still, you are most probably right in regard to my unforeseen and bizarre fate, which is getting even bleaker by the time, exceptionally, when I am surrounded by venomous and gluttonous deadly pricks. I'm in a haste, dear bloodsucker. No time left to entertain you. Goodbye, insolent, freakish spider. I hope I didn't hurt your poisonous feelings or ruined your apple yard. The king said, no, you can't, but I might want to walk alongside with you. I have nothing to do right now, besides, Micho is too slow. We can chat along the way until your final destination. I would like to be there to witness the last gasp. You won't be bothered, would you? The spider asked. Aren't you scared or probably a bit worried? My donkey can easily stamp on you with his heavy hooves and engrave your golden body into this lawn. Or I might just crush you with my thick wooden stick which I'm holding by me all the time. The king said, possibly. It's a risk I'm willing to take, spite of your bombastic and bitter attitude. I still think I can help you and show you the right path through these endless baffling fields. You might circle around yourself endlessly and could, contrary to my appetite, end back to the hands of your vicious hunters and not me a him. The spider clears his throat again and continued. There is a hidden getaway around here somewhere. You may want to explore it with me. Beside, we can chat together, and you can vent all of your frustration, defects, and all of your perfect disappointments, instead of talking to a dumb donkey. The spider said, you are being nice and totally unctuous to your presumed fleshy prey. If I can defong your poison, It would be much safer company. Back to your ill advice. Most of my other seekers know all about those previously mentioned places. They, ultimately, will hunt me down out there. Nevertheless, just one thing to mention. I wish my donkey can speak like you. Had you pinched bubbly human and ate his whole racy tongue? The king asked. Be careful to what you are wishing for. Once Micho learns how to speak, then he will start to ask and eventually will demand. Judging from him anything special in return, except maybe switching whom carry who. You don't want to do that, would you? The spider said. How come you're also wise? You ate the heart as well. The king asked. Yes, that's what you get when you nip a presumed clever human. A lot of them. The spider said his last words. Sound of screech. This is the end of you, darn sneaky spider. You're waiting for an opportunity to pounce on my precious body and vent in your killer venom, Micho. I removed the sting from that awful creature. You might want to eat it as an appetizer. Or better, maybe you will learn to speak like him, despite the eventual risks associated with your own brain. Farewell, kingdom that left without your deceased Spider King. Hee haw, loud donkey bray. Chapter 5. The Announcer. On the second night of their continuous breakaway, King Otto and Micho the donkey reached a secluded valley late at night, and Otto decided that both needed a rest. The dark has descended upon us, Micho. I'm tired from sitting on you. Now I've decided that we can have a proper hiatus, maybe a short one, as I promised you to rest before continuing our long, unpredicted journey into the unknown. The king said. He dismounted from the donkey back and started looking around for a place to lay upon. No, if you're asking Micho, I am neither anxious nor worried, luckily. I've got rid of that sly, dreadful creature who were harassing us in our way. Our short repose should be safe in his eternal absence. I hope it was another Greek myth. It's freezing out there under the starry night. I'll put on me that heavy woolen frock I managed to keep in my hasty departure. No, unfortunately, we can't light any fire. It's too much of a risk to be noticed from anyone lurking in this darkness, and actually, I don't know how to. The king said, Thank you. A whisper in the dark. Who is that? Appear before me and show me yourself. That is if you have a bit of courage. The king said. Otto stood quivering, brandishing his only weapon, the wooden stick, as he was shaken by the invisible whispering voice. I am not here to do harm to anyone. I thanked you because you crushed that horrible spider. His venom ran through my blood and my body laid bare for dead few days ago. The invisible voice said. Still, I am unable to see you, dead stranger. Appear before me or, the king said, I wish I can. I am not a human anymore. Unfortunately, I am a ghost, a mere specter who is wandering aimlessly into the darkness, or that's what left of me, after that adverse spider lethal sting. The ghost said, What are you doing here annoying us middle of the night? Are you roving alone in this dissolute land? Shouldn't you be hanging on to an old crumbling building or ancient ruins, where you can please yourself and horrify the residents if there is any left around you. The king said, I have to hunt my killer and stay close to it until his final moments of life. That's the strict rule in our invisible, spooky world. We have to continue hovering around our killers, pending their last earthly gasp. Regrettably to us, we are unable to fulfill our revenge, only observing in pure vain. But you managed to crush that spider with your wooden rod, cut it and left his tail out there. It will grow back again to yet another evil one in short period of time. Hence, I came to warn you. The ghost said, thus, it was not the end of evilness. They all grow out of dead ends. But lucky me, bad for you. You shall hover endlessly around him. Do tell me, what were you doing in that hapless, jagged fields at that exact time of the spider bite? Seeking your own demise. The king said, I were one of your butlers, my lord. My name is Yobo. I worked for you for many years, preparing your favorite meals and your juicy drinks inside your own great palace. The ghost said, oh, so you are one of those slimy scowl servants. I always complained from the rotten food and the sour drinks I was served. Fortunately, you can't work for me anymore. Tell me, ghost, you supposed to tell the truth. How many times you ruined my meals? The king asked. Never on purpose, my lord. Yobo replied. Yet you've escaped unscathed from that bloody torment in the palace. The king said, I mustered my remaining strength and ran away just before the mutant soldiers stormed into your palace and started to look for you. Your Majesty, sorry, but I took the first thing I found coincidentally. Your horse and among other few things do belongs to you that was scattered around. I had the thought of keeping it safe and returned back intact to your Majesty, or the worst thing you would never need them anymore. Then I rustled myself out the palace and fled to where safety is, riding on your horse until I had a rest for a while, and unexpectedly I met that menace spider. Then, my rapid exodus from life was ended abruptly. Yobo said, I always wondered where my dear horse has gone. I was very desperate at that moment, but finally I found second best. Micho, where is he now? The king asked. Who? Yobo asked. The horse, you fool. The king answered. Probably roaming around here somewhere in those abandoned fields, but eventually, I must admit, miraculously, you escaped too unscathed from the city and saved your head from those gritty killers and the other waiting conspirators. Yobo said, spare me the vanity, your role has finished. But to answer your curiosity, yes, I escaped with pride. And that's why I am a great king and you are a mere ghost. The king said, listen, my lord, I can't stay here any longer to hear you. I have to go back to haunt my killer. Do you know your way out of here? Yobo asked. I've got a rough idea. The king replied. I have heard there is a secret passageway somewhere nearby I can guide you, possibly leading to the Hoyden Forest. I believe that's your destination. After all, you need all the wisdom to retrieve back your throne. It can be a good option considering your urgent situation. Yobo said, even the ghost knows my destination. Ha, don't you worry, Yobo. I'll find my way without anyone's help. Thanks for nothing. Be gone, ghost. I need a rest. The king said, Your Majesty, Take care and see you soon. Yobo said, I wish not. Ghost, tell me, is there any other like you wandering around here? The king asked. Sure, there are, few circling just about you. They can't talk directly to you, but they are waiting desperately for your last gasp of breath. You should make them to wait much longer. Yobo replied. That's a big relief. I thought I'm alone. Yes, I promise I'll waste their virtual time. For now, go ghost, disappear. We want to have a rest. The king said. Chapter 6. The Announcer. After a short rest during the second night, King Otto wake up long before twilight and set ready to depart the place in a hurry. It's time to move on, Micho. Best to travel before break of the morning while we are still obscured into the darkness. With a bit of help, we can find our way under those glowing stars, hanging firmly over our tiny heads. Mine at least, yes, if you ask me. I missed my precious crown. The king said. He mounted on the donkey and started talking. Listen to me, Micho. I must confess I've spent all of my dark nights hiding and cowering inside my castle, indulging at levity and on frivolity. I was scared to venture out to explore the uncharted, living besieged by guards, cavaliers, and conspirators. What a waste of years, missing out of all those moments and not to appreciate the truthful essence of the nature around us. Yes, if you insist, the northern star is our reference into this vacuum, the brightest one in the wide, in the never ending horizon. That is what I've been told. No, it's not a speech to my audience. I concisely realized how vain my life was, alone, broken, haunted by determined assassins, surrounded by ghosts of the past, riding donkey to the unknown, futile, sound appropriate to describe my state of mind right now. After a period of time, the king saw something, a faint silhouette moving slowly and aimlessly in the dark. I can see something right there, in that dim horizon. It seems like some trees waving to me. No, it's not a hallucination, but possibly it's the start of the Hoyden forest. Hush, Micho. We will be careful in approaching that place. We will never know what is hiding out there. As they are getting closer to that dubious spot, I can now discern a horse, a white one, bridled and saddled, but without a rider or any guard nearby. You stay here while I will ensure the place is safe and don't you bray a word. Otto said. Otto dismounted from his donkey, wielding his weapon, and started to creep slowly towards that horse while scouring the place meticulously, and when he realized there were no sign of anyone around there, he stood tall and approached the abandoned horse. Oh dear God, finally I found a proper horse to replace that slow and smelly donkey. Oh, unbelievable, it's Metis, my beautiful, magnificent horse, a gift from the holy sky. What happened to you, my faithful friend? What are you doing alone here in the middle of nowhere? You don't know how happy I am right now to see you at last. That horrible condemned butler took you away from me, but his fate is absolutely akin to his deed, reprehensible, ended in awful and dreadful manner. Otto said. Metis neighed several times and Micho brayed simultaneously. Hush the both of you. Stop flirting each other right now. Can you walk? Otto asked. Otto holds the horse reins and started to walk him to examine his legs carefully. You are a fine, healthy, and strong horse, Metis. Sure, you can carry me on your strong back. Don't worry. I am a bit thinner now and lighter than before. I didn't experiment any type of food for days hitherto. Your job would be much easier. Lucky both of you have plentiful of fresh green grass to devour. But what is that filling your bulgy bags? Otto said. As the king was busy unfolding the packed pockets of the saddle, he suddenly started to shout of delight and contempt simultaneously. Damn vile butler! How he was able in a brisk of time to steal all of my precious diamonds and my secret golden stash. What a sneaky drudge, an Ophidian in human flesh. And of course he took you too, my dear Metis, Otto said. Otto was astounded and kept murmuring with himself. Surely he received what he absolutely deserved. He departed without a stiver, on the other hand. I am really blessed to find all of that stash intact and usable to me and not to my foes and enemies. Should I thank him? Probably not of my own druthers, and I wouldn't know anyway. Still, it could be a huge asset and help in the near future, maybe to bribe my way out of this mayhem. Otto said. Loud braying burst out. That is Micho, your old stable mate and my current companion. You should have known better. He helped me through this hard journey. Though there are still dangers lays ahead. No Metis if you asked. I won't be leaving Micho behind. I'll tide him to you, Metis. Let's go, my comrades, and continue our search for a safe place for the sake of all of us. Otto said. They marched together in persuading Otto dream of survival. End of part 1.